As soon as we get one more person in for corn, we'll promptly begin. So everybody should be on notice. Okay, so here's the plan, everybody. Listen up. Dr. Jones is en route. She's listening online, and so she'll be able to listen to testimony. She is under the weather, so I didn't think I would need her, so I asked her not to come. So she's going to come. She'll be here in 30 minutes in the room. You all are going to present the information. By the time she comes and she's listening online, we should be ready to get there to some degree. So then we'll be official. There may be, if somebody wanted to push this, but that would be more so real technical in regards to the Open Meetings Act. But right now, you're going to present. By the time she comes here and we're official, she'll be ready to vote and go from there. So in talking over with legal counsel, that's how we'll go to some degree. So you'll be like in an open presentation to present the information to the board, and then we'll be ready to vote by the time she comes in or take whatever action. Anybody need any explanation?
Sir, you will have
the mic
forum to take action.
Because we're unofficial, so we're just openly talking now.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
My name is Deepak Gangahar. My question to you was, we'll be happy to make presentation. Will you have a quorum to take action or not?
We will when she comes.
Great.
She's en route.
Terrific.
So this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to ask the department to present for 15, 20 minutes. I will give you all 15, 20 minutes to respond, whichever you go in there. And then open the board up for any questions they may have to clear that up. By that time, that should give Dr. Jones time to be in the room. She's listening on Zoom, and then we'll go from there to some degree. And again, it's real uninformal, no notice, anything of that sort. I would ask just for the minutes, because once it's formal, we can keep it and go from there. And so everybody understand how we're gonna go. Yeah. But right now, we're gonna record the presentation so it's on. So with that, I'll just proceed with the hearing part on the license renewal and ask that the department come and make his presentation, and then we will ask the business owners to come. So whoever's going for the department, go.
Good morning. Eric Browley, Division Chief, Environmental Health for Douglas County Health Department. I put a packet on your table so you can kind of follow along. You want me to try to do the...
Do it just like it's here, yep. Go
Okay.
for it. It's re-recorded, we'll be there.
Okay. So you see on the first 3 pages are copies of the inspection reports that were done on December 16th. Inspector Ruff was training Inspector Barrett, so the 2 of them were there doing the inspection of the pool, splash pad, and spa. If you look at page 1, I've highlighted the major things. The big one to look at is where it says automatic feeder not functioning and needs to be approved by NDEE, which is Nebraska Department of Energy and Environment, which is now Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. And then also the pool is closed until re-inspected. Page 2 is the splash pad. Again, there was an automatic feeder. There was not an automatic feeder functioning at the time of the inspection and needs to be approved by NDEE, and the splash pad is closed until inspected. At the time we were there, the facility had already had the spa closed. It had been drained recently, so we did not conduct an inspection on that. That's just what that inspection report says, is we did not do anything with the spa. 4th page, December 26th, we had not heard from the facility. So Inspector Barrett just went out there around 12:30 just to kind of find out what was going on. She observed at least 3 people in the swimming pool and 2 in the spa, and our closed sign was covered up with a yellow sign that read pool hours. She worked with some of the staff there, came back about a little after 1 o'clock, and the pool area had been cleared. Page 5, 6, and 7 are some text, screenshots of text between Thomas Pennington, who works with he works for Not Properties, and also our Inspector Ruff. You see there, John asked, was the sign covered? And Thomas replied, it was not covered when I arrived. On page 6, basically Thomas thanking John for taking a call with him today. Again, this is on December 26th. You're always a massive help. And on page 7, Thomas says we will get everything resolved and become a model permit holder. He also asked Inspector Ruff to forward the inspection reports to him. And on Monday, December 29th, on page 8, you see John did forward those inspection reports to Thomas. That was on December 30th. So also on December 30th, on page 9, you see text between John and Thomas again. There in the middle, John asked, is the pool open? And Thomas replied, unfortunately. Also on December 30th, around 6 o'clock, Inspector Barrett was just driving by and observed people in the pool. Page 11 and 12, you see pictures from outside showing people swimming in the pool. So December 31st, our supervisor Hayden and Inspector Ruff met members of the Omaha Police Department on site to issue a citation. Mr. Trivedi was not there at the time. It's my understanding that his staff called him. He was coming from Lincoln. Unfortunately, the pool code was not in the citation system, so they could not issue a citation. Police could also not wait for Mr. Trivedi to arrive since he's coming from Lincoln. So they wrote up a report and submitted it to Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services, which is where the current code says the pool program resides. That has actually moved to the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. So on the way leaving the property, Mr. Trivedi arrived and texted our Inspector Ruff, you can see there, just asking him John to direct all communications to Mr. Trivedi moving forward. And then he also provided his email contact information. Then on page 15, later on New Year's Eve, December 31st, Mr. Trivedi emailed Sheriff Hansen and copied some members of our staff on it. You see the highlighted part there. He says they stopped services with our current vendor, and they immediately put back the previous system they had in place, talking about their disinfection system. Sheriff Hansen on page 16 replied that he was forwarding this to the Health and Human Services, which is where the pool program resides. Page 17, also on New Year's Eve, person from Health and Human Services forwarded it on to Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. And that was then forwarded to a Susan Polskill with what we call DWE. On Monday, January 5th, on page 18, you see a response from Suzanne to Mr. Trivedi and everybody else who was on the email, including our staff. If you look at the second paragraph, it states modifications to existing pools must be submitted to the department for review and written approval prior to beginning construction. This is the case even if the design that had been previously approved by the department. Based on the information you provided, the facility implemented a change in disinfectant feeder without receiving department approval. The top paragraph, Suzanne also says, pool facilities within Douglas County fall under the jurisdiction of the Douglas County Health Department. If the department finds any condition that poses a serious health risk to patrons and warrants a prompt closing of the pool, the department will notify the owner or operator that the pool must close. The owner or Nebraska swimming pool operator must prohibit any person from using the pool upon such notification at such a time that the department has authorized the pool to reopen. Then they also note that the department received some plans and specifications from the facility sometime last week, which was getting that process of getting the approval for the system. January 7th, Inspector Ruff reached out to Cyril, who works for DWE, just asking for an update on the swimming pool. We did not receive a response. So on Thursday, January 15th, I reached out to Cyril asking for an update on the pool. That's page 20. Page 21, it's Friday, January 16th. Cyril did respond, said after a couple of phone calls from our review engineer, the facility has stated early this week they have contracted with Aquachem to get the correct submittal to the state. Page 22, shortly, a few hours later, Cyril responded again that the president of Aquachem had reached out and he was going to visit the facility today to see what was in place and what will take to bring them into compliance. Page 23, January 27th email, I reached out to Cyril again, asking if they'd received anything from Aquachem. Page 24, on Wednesday, January 28th, Cyril Dwee reached back out, said they had not received anything from Aquachem yet. Thursday, February 5th, I reached out to IHG regional office in Atlanta. I called, and this person on this email is Brad Bubb. He was just the guy that answered the phone, told me to write up an email, which I did, describing everything that had happened up to this point, and he would forward it on. Page 26, later that day on February 5th, I reached out to IHG Corporate, which is located in the United Kingdom, basically provided them with the same email. Page 27, I reached out to IHG Corporate through LinkedIn, sent them a message, basically telling them the same information. Page 28, my first response from IHG. They did respond saying they had reached out to the franchise owner and he will be engaging directly. Page 29, February 10th, I reached out to Deputy Chief Scott Gray, who's an ex-official member of this board, asking him about putting the pool code into their citation system. This is an email with him responding saying it doesn't currently allow this, but they're going to have, the prosecutor's office is going to request it to the state. February 20th, Deputy Chief Scott Gray responded that the system is now capable of issuing a citation. Also, February 20th, I reached back out to Cyril with the state to ask for any information on the Holiday Inn downtown. February 23rd, Cyril responded, or I emailed Cyril again, asking if this pool would have got you information right after our initial inspection, how long would the state have taken to make a decision? On February 23rd, Cyril responded, we're still waiting for the review fees. I sent an email to Kurt, which is Mr. Trivedi, to get a timeline on the check. When we get a review fee in a project, we can turn around the project like this in a few days if there are no comments. Monday, February 23rd, I had called and talked to one of the officers who was going to issue the citation, and he asked me to reach out to Mr. Trivedi to find out his availability. So when we did go to the Holiday Inn, he would be there. This is just my email to Mr. Trivedi. And then page 35 is Mr. Trivedi's response, giving me his availability. I provided that to the police, and they chose 11 a.m. on February 24th. And Mr. Trivedi then followed up with a, I let him know, and he followed up with a calendar invite. Page 36, so we went out there that morning. It was me, Supervisor Hayden, and Inspector Barrett. We went out there, met the police on site. They issued the citation. And at that point, I provided Mr. Trivedi with the page 36, which is our permit revocation letter. If you note at the very bottom, the highlighted part talks about the ability to appeal to the Board of Health, and no appeal under this section, however, shall entitle the owner or permittee to continue operation of such pool pending action by the Board of Health. And then page 37 is the picture of the closure notices we posted on the front door. We posted one for the pool, the spa, and the splash pad. We also posted these 3 signs on the back door and on the entrance to the water park. That was on the morning of February 24th. The afternoon of February 24th is the next page. You can see our signs have been covered up with a pool open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. sign. 39 is an email, February 24th, where I forwarded to that guy I talked to at IHG Regional, just letting him know that a citation had been issued and we revoked the permits. Later that day, I received the email from him saying they had reached out to the area manager that works for the hotel, but we need to talk, it's an issue, we need to work with the franchise owner. Page 41, I also reached out to IHG Corporate on LinkedIn again, providing them that same information. The pool continued to operate, so on February 26th, page 42 is a cease and desist letter sent by the City of Omaha's Attorney's Office to Mr. Trivedi by email and electronic mail. On page 43 is the second page of that, which says Douglas County Health Department's closure notices should be uncovered by 5 p.m. on Friday, February 27th, 2026. Page 44 is a picture from February 27th, around 5:45 p.m. that I took. You can still see the pool open. Our pool closure notices are still covered by the pool open sign. So I let Dr. Hughes know at that point that the pool is still open and operating. And then page 45 is our press release that we issued, warning the public that this pool was operating out of compliance. Page 47 is an email that I also sent to the regional office and IHG corporate with the press release and a copy of the cease and desist letter. Page 48 is our IHG on LinkedIn again, where I sent them the documents as well. Page 49 is just the continuation of that LinkedIn message with the attachments. March 2nd, on number 50 starts some emails on March 2nd from the state that they provided us between the state and Mr. Trivedi and Thomas Pennington, who John, our inspector, was texting early on in this process, saying they still have not received the review fees. Page 51 is that Mr. Trivedi responded that Thomas is on his way to the state out in Lincoln with a check to pay those fees. And then later on Monday, March 2nd, the state, after getting the fees, they responded that here is your approval letter to do the disinfection system at the Holiday Inn. Then page 53 is an email from Thomas to me, basically wanted to sit down and talk about what the issues are so they can understand what is going on. Next one is March 3rd, where I responded that the permits for the spa, splash pad, and pool were revoked on February 24th. At this point, the only option they have is to appeal to the Board of Health. Page 55 is just on March 3rd, I was interviewed by KETV as well as Mr. Trivedi. I believe after KETV had interviewed Mr. Trivedi, they reached back out to us saying that Mr. Trivedi was not aware of what the violations were. So you can see what I have highlighted, or not highlighted, but an asterisk at the bottom, that we provided the violations on the inspection reports to the certified pool operators on site on December 16th. And it's not here, but we also provided the inspection reports again on Monday, December 30th. And they'd also started the process with DWE to get their approval, so they were aware of what the violations were. Page 56 is an email from Max Lofgren with DWE, basically wanting to schedule an inspection to come out and approve the new disinfection system. That was on March 4th. They requested that Douglas County Health Department be present. After talking with our staff, for existing pools, we do not usually go out for that. We only usually go out when it's a brand new pool, so we did not go out for that inspection. Page 57 is just me notifying them of that. And again, responding that the next step for us is for the water park to appeal to the Douglas County Board of Health. Page 58, March 5th, Max responded and just said, I also want to be clear that the department's approval on this project does not give the pool permits to operate. The department's approval only signifies the sanitizer changes and that all Douglas County Health Department's conditions to open and operate must still be met. Page 59 was Friday, March 6th, where the state notified us that the chemical and disinfectant systems have been approved by the state. That is kind of where we are right now, but I would also, page 60 is a letter we received back in September of 2024 from Sean Davis, the Vice President of Operations for Knott Properties. This was regarding another pool that was downtown Omaha, owned by Mr. Trivedi. We had some other issues with that, and you see the highlighted part where finally, if the health department determines on a future visit that the pool needs to be closed for any amount of time, we commit to abide by all directives of the health department and keep our pool closed until they send us notice that we can get it. At that time, during this thing, we also had them send us the chemistry reports weekly until we kind of made sure that was up and going. And that's all I have. Do you want me to do our recommendations, or do you want to? Okay. All right.
Let me clarify before you go.
Okay.
So this is the last letter on the 24th. This is from a different hotel that the owners owned?
Correct.
What was that hotel?
That's it's the Holiday Inn Express downtown. That's
okay.
Farnham,
Okay.
I believe.
So this is not a first-time offense?
This was not.
It's a first-time offense at this hotel?
Right.
Okay.
But
All
this
right.
is just a letter from them saying they would basically work with us.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Russ Hayden. That final letter was from the same water park.
Same issues. That was written to address that water parks issues back in September 24th. because we were having prior issues with them. So this is actually for the current establishment that you guys are discussing.
The current is it's for the same hotel?
Same facility, yes.
Okay.
Same water park.
All right. If you all want to come.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, members of the council, and Dr. Hughes and the staff. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to present our side of the story. I appreciate Mr. Bradley's comments, but I'll give the full context how this thing happened from the start. Let me introduce my colleagues. Kurt Trivedi, he's the president of our organization. We have Jane Ziegler, she's the general manager of one of the hotels, and Joe Hart, who's the general manager of another hotel of ours. Kurt, do you mind running the PowerPoint for me?
Would you like me to hand this off first?
I'll tell you when.
It's just a PDF.
Oh, excellent.
So I'll make general comments and give a bird's eye view what has gone on. I'm an owner of this hotel, but I'm not an operator. I never got involved in the management of any of the hotels. We have 4 hotels in Omaha, and they were all built by us between 8 and 15 years ago. And the first one was Water Park Holiday Inn at 15th and Cumming Street. And like I said, I do not participate in the management, but I'm acutely involved with building a culture. In my previous life, I was a physician. At the time, and even now in hospitality business, my charge is to introduce a culture of service to the organization, to do the right thing, and to be held accountable for everybody's action per the local code and governance. Being involved with healthcare for 40 years, compliance of public health policies of the city, county, and the state is not only a responsibility, legal responsibility, but I consider it as my moral and ethical responsibility to be in compliance with all governing authorities. Being in Omaha, I'll bring a historic perspective. I think it was in early 90s, Warren Buffett, who was the interim chair of the Solomon Brothers, they did some irregularities, and case went to SEC. And Mr. Buffett made a public comment to his staff that if you lose money for the firm, I'll be understanding. But if you lose shred of a reputation of my firm, I'll be ruthless. I, in particular, subscribe 100% to that philosophy. I see everybody's a lot younger than I am, but there was a movie in late 60s, and the hero in that movie from Hollywood was Paul Newman, and the name of the movie was Cool Hand Luke. And the statement made in that movie sticks to my head even today. And the comment made was, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Failure to communicate. It'll come to discussion later in my presentation, okay? So, like I mentioned, we have 4 hotels in Omaha. They all have a pool, and they're being managed by certified pool operators, so-called CPOs. This hotel in discussion, Holiday Inn Water Park, we built around 13, 14 years ago. And at that time, we introduced an automatic chemical feeder, so-called ACF, and our CPOs were managing it. And of course, before the appliance was approved by the state and was monitored by the County Department of Public Health. On December 6th, this pool was inspected, and they found quite a few deficiencies, half a dozen, maybe more. And I'm sorry, let me back off. I misstated. 3 years ago, we hired a third party to manage our pools, all our pools, Ecolab. That was 3 years ago. And we found, can you change to slide number 3? 3 years ago, we had Ecolab doing the third-party servicing of our pools, and we were not happy with the service. They were not performing up to our expectations. No, the revised one. And also, we learned from the state that their equipment of Ecolab was not in compliance. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So that was non-compliance. As such, we worked with Ecolab, but they could not be in compliance, so we let them go on December 10th, 2025. On December 10th, we suspended them, we terminated the services, and took it ourselves, the way we have been doing for the last 10 years. Okay? And we began to use automatic chemical dispenser in this water park. 6 days later, on December 16th, Douglas County inspector came, and they failed us for legitimate reasons. There were 6 or 7 violations, and Mr. Trivedi, who the overall head, wasn't there, and the CPO who was there, he said, "Sir, we'll fix it in a matter of minutes." They were all matter of documentation. They were all there, but they were not available at that time. So all the deficiencies were fixed. Within the hour, they were fixed, but for one, because they didn't want our automatic chemical dispenser that we've been using for the last 10 years. They want Ecolab's system. And so when Kurt Trivedi got to know him, he called the inspector, talked to him himself. He says, "Sir, we will not use Ecolab because they're not performing to our satisfaction, plus the device does not comply with state requirements. And we've been using this system for the last 10 years. We are asking the state to come and inspect and verify so we can be in compliance." And he was advised, no, unless you have ecosystem, you will not be allowed to open the water park. So on December 16th, they gave an order to close the water park. And next slide. And the tragedy is that all 3 other hotels, they had all, before December 10th, Ecosystem was servicing all 4 hotels in Omaha. So we suspended Ecosystem service in all 4 hotels in Omaha and began to do ourselves the way we've been doing historically prior to 3 years. There was no issue with other 3 hotels. Inspector were inspecting. They didn't cite us for any of those. But here in Water Park, on December 16, they say, unless you have Ecosystem, you're not allowed to open it. So we began to work with the system, and they say you can use manual chemical feeders, and we followed, can you pass on the handouts? We followed policy established by the state, how to handle manual chemical installation into the pools by the DART. And those rules say on a temporary basis, not a permanent basis, on an interim basis, you can do chemical feeding of the pool for a finite time. They don't define time, how many months or days or weeks. So we began to work with the state so they can come and inspect our automatic chemical feeder. Meanwhile, we were using manual feeding of the chemicals and checking the water quality every minimum 4 hours, if not more often. 2 hours, 3 hours, we were checking it so the water quality is in compliance with the standards. And we also learned that state can take as long as 6 months before they can come and inspect your machine for the dispensing the chemicals. Next slide. While this was going on, we were in compliance how the manual chemical feeder should be installed. And we had 2 consultants helping us. Aquachem, and Platinum Pools. Under their guidance, we were carrying out the service to our pools so to maintain the safety of the public and the guests who are using the pool. And the pool water was tested every 4 hours at minimum, if not more often, depending upon the usage of the pool. Next slide. So what we learned that all 3 hotels, they were all under the jurisdiction of Douglas County Health Department and were managed exactly the same way after we suspended Eco Lab services. No one was cited. Inspector were inspecting, and they say, yes, you can do manual installation of chemicals. Yes, public can use the pool, but maintain a log that you're checking the water, maintain a log. And we maintain that log diligently. And at this time, we were also working with the of the State Department engineers to come and inspect our instruments. So once we, next slide. So this is inconsistency that we feel in the Douglas County Department of Health. During this time, 3 other hotels in Omaha use exactly the same methodology to transition using manual application of chemicals for the pools lasting over 3 months. And there were no objections were raised any of the hotels. In the case of Holiday Inn Water Park, which used the same transition methodology, not only was it forced to shut down, unless we use ecosystem, which we had learned from the state, their equipment is not in compliance. A major negative social media campaign was used. Next slide. So the facts are following. Number 1, repeated requests to meet with Douglas County inspector were denied. And the purpose was to sit down across the table to learn from them. Where are we deficient? We want to be in compliance. Please advise us, tell us what's going on. They never allowed the opportunity to meet face to face. This is what I say, failure to communicate. I'm not saying anybody has vendetta against us. It's a matter of sitting down. We were using the same system that used for 10 years. And Douglas County inspected that. And now, same Douglas County Health Department is allowing other 3 hotels being managed exactly the same way to open the pools so guests can take advantage of the pool. But for one, they're using different standard. Again, I'm repeating, but I think need to be brought to attention of this group. While Holiday Inn Hotel and Water Park Downtown was using the same system as 3 other hotels in Omaha to transition to the pool chemical installation system, Holiday Inn Hotel Downtown was the only property singled out for criticism. A negative social media post was made specifically against this hotel, which led to significant financial losses. Following a post, the hotel also received negative coverage in the news, further compounding the financial losses and bad reputation for the company and for our hotel. Next. I do not question any comment that Mr. Bradley made. I wasn't there. I respect, as a profession, he must have stated facts. I'm not challenging any of that. But my issue is, when we were using the system for the last 10 years, then we hired third-party service 3 years ago, then we terminated them on December 10th. 6 days later, we got inspected, and we were allowed either go to ecosystem or you cannot use Water Park. While different standards were used for 3 other hotels being managed exactly the same way. My request and my colleagues' request to Mr. Chief Inspector and County Health Board, please sit down with us, explain to us where we're falling short. We're not stonewalling. We'll comply with yours. You're professional. You know a lot more than us. You're here to serve the public. I'm Mr. Public. We need to learn from you where we're falling short so we can compliance. This is failure to communicate. So based upon these facts, we request immediate restoration of the Holiday Inn Water Park permit to avoid further inconvenience to our guests and major loss of business to the property. Again, In my opening comment, I made a observation that I do not manage any of my properties, but I respect and trust my team because from day one, my job has been to build a culture of good ethics and accountability. And if any question need to be asked, whatever I said, I'll back my words. But Mr. Trivedi and other general manager here to answer all your questions, and Mr. Bradley or anybody else's question. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Before the department comes and responds, I just want to make sure I'm hearing let me continue with where you are.
Yep.
So that's fair. You frame it as a point of communication. Despite the form of communication, who's responsible for covering up the signs when it was clearly noted that it was closed? Despite the communication, the park was closed.
So,
And to stay consistent with your theme, that who, without communication, decided to cover the signs to open the park?
okay.
You're a third-party manager, so I'm assuming it wasn't you. Who made that call? Because, okay, communication was there, but it was clearly noted that you were not to open. Who made the decision to open? Because despite communication, somebody broke the law.
Very good question, and I'll respond to that. On December 6th, they closed the water park. Mr. Trivedi was here on site managing the properties. I was not. I was out of the country. He wanted to discuss with the inspectors, same question that I posed to you now. And he used his judgment that while other three properties under the same jurisdiction doing the same methodologies are allowed to use pools, how come they're not allowing it? So yes, he overruled his order and continued to open till
He overruled the
order.
ordinance,
Yes.
which was he overruled state law and city ordinance.
Well, county is the one who gave the order.
Yeah, but it's city jurisdiction, so just want to make sure he made the personal decision to overrule city ordinance and state law.
Sir, it's a democracy. How can I have two different standards for different things? And when they don't give opportunity to sit down and discuss.
So let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you have 4 hotels.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you had you've had a system for 10 years. They were administering it for 3.
Yes.
You decided because of bad administration to cancel the administration of the hotels. That Ecolabs, that you were upset with how they did it.
Plus, they were not in compliance with state regulations.
Right. But you decided because of Ecosystem's performance at this hotel that you were going to discontinue them with all your other hotels?
All 10 hotels, because the system was
Okay,
not.
follow my point though. So at some point, but I'm assuming this decision was made, you were unhappy with them. If it was the 10th, the department came out at some point. I guess what I'm saying to you is you may have gotten off easy because if you decided to cut this system with all the other hotels, it seems like by how you're explaining it, you're lucky the department didn't go to the other hotels and catch that one. But this is about the one hotel, not this hotel. Point of it is, at this hotel, somebody made the independent decision to open this back up to the public. The gentleman made that call, who runs it?
I'll allow him to speak for himself,
Okay, let him speak now.
but let me make a comment. This is not dictatorship, this is democracy. You
Right.
cannot use two different standards in the same jurisdiction because one person chooses to go one way and other are using different way. If we are wrong, we submit ourselves to penalties. But at the same time, in democracy, everybody has a right to question, including Mr. Trump. The question is, how can two different standards be used? And we are requesting to sit down across the table, explain to me how come we are allowing those 3 hotels in the city of Omaha to continue to function, but singling out one hotel.
Okay, Eric, you want to come back? Can you clear up the matter? Was that this I don't understand how the other 3 hotels are coming on. Can you clear this matter up?
I was just texting with our inspector about this. Let me pull that up. I believe there was one hotel, I believe it's the Loft Hotel. Do y'all have one called the Loft?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We did go do an inspection there, but it was closed at the time we were there. They had closed it. They were using like chlorine or basically disinfectant pucks in the skimmer, which is dangerous for an indoor pool. We did work with them, and they did get reopened. But the other 2 pools we had not been to since December 10th, since they made that change. So the only 2 we had been to, one was closed, and then this one we closed.
So this is inaccurate information. This is totally inaccurate information. I'll call the general manager of Aloft Hotel, let him speak for himself.
No, wait a minute. So that's fine. I want to hear that piece. But the matter at hand is about the one hotel. I just wanted to kind of get that cleared up. I don't want to blur the lines with the
Absolutely.
other hotels because you got the one here. I don't know what happened there, but whatever didn't register on the point. The main point is you got a hotel now that the department closed and somebody took the independent action to open it back up to the public. That's the main thing at hand. So if he wants to come and answer that, please do.
So I came to town on February 26th. As soon as I found that my team was overruling the department's order which had taken the permit away,
Your team overruled the department's order.
the minute I found out that my team has overruled the departments that had revoked the permit for the water park, I immediately told them, open it right now. If you disagree, will there be process to appeal and discuss? I'll make second comment and then I'll back off. What Mr. Bradley says is totally inaccurate. He's repeating somebody else told him. I would like this group to hear.
No, sir, but I hear you. I'm going to ask you to stay on this hotel because your other hotels are good. If you want to bring that in, you may be bringing in some other stuff.
He
Let's
brought
stay
a
on
lot
this
of names,
hotel.
so I'm responding to that. If you don't want,
Okay.
that's okay.
No, I think you responded that you said that was inaccurate. Fine.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that. But so let's stay on this hotel.
Okay.
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 You saying that you made the decision to reopen the hotel?
As soon as I found out, I came back from India on February 26th. Immediately I told them, please comply with the order. You may have your reason to keep the door open, water park open. We'll have time and opportunity to debate and discuss with the governance. But right now, we have ordered, they've taken the permit away, we should close the water park. Since 26th has been closed and did not open, and I met with Dr. Hughes, and I told her it shall not open till the governance allows it to open. But we know that public is safe because we checking the water every 2 to 3 hours when the water pool was being used. But since 26th of February, it has not been used.
You said you were going to let somebody answer to the point of why they made that decision to
Yes.
open. Can you
Mr.
come?
Trivedi?
Thank you. Kurt Trivedi, P.O. Box 3847, Omaha, Nebraska, 68103. Any other information personally I'm supposed to provide?
Nope. Go ahead.
My name is Kurt Trivedi. I'm the president of Anat Hotels. Mr. Rogers, to answer your question, yes, I made that decision for numerous reasons. One was the inconsistencies in how pool inspectors in Douglas County were managing our other Class B pools. They point blank knew the process. We kept the pool inspectors aware of the process. Ecolab was pulled out from all the hotels, not because of one issue at one hotel. Ecolab was failing and compromising safety and health for our employees and for our guests at all the hotels. We've told our inspectors this numerous times. In fact, a year ago during spring break, this same hotel, the same pool inspector, was aware that the Ecolab system failed again for almost 2 weeks and instructed us to hand feed this pool, obviously when it's not in use. He has instructed us to do so at this water park facility dozens of times when the Ecolab system has repeatedly failed. I could not, in good faith, keep the Ecolab system at this hotel because of its failures and inconsistencies. It is a very bad system, sir. It needs to be pulled from all pools. We immediately resumed to the previous chemical system. The pool inspector says, no, you can't do that. So then we started to manual feed, as he has instructed us dozens of times in the past when the Ecolab system has failed. At the other Aloft Hotel, because it was brought up by Mr. Bradley and yourself, the pool inspector himself knew the situation, even discussed it with our general manager, and Joe will come up here and explain that entire discussion, that yes, we see that you're working on getting the old system recertified, but for the interim, while that's going on, please manual feed the system, and you're doing it very well. That is exactly what another pool inspector in the same county with the same Class B pool mentioned. That is a fact. And I will call him up right now. Mr. Hart?
No, because I want to keep the issue. The issue is really not. We want to hear that piece, but the issue is that the pool's closed.
It is closed, sir.
What I really want to get at is, if we're going to make a recommendation to you to open, I want to get at, you made this point about the ethics and things of that sort. My question is, if you get a lawful order to close your pool, what decisions go through your head to defy that order? Because if the one piece of machinery at one pool is operating and there's doubt about it operating and you have it all the other pools, the safest thing would be to shut all the pools until you get it there, instead of making the decision to open one and not do it. Because I'll end
Mr.
there. Wait a
Rogers.
minute. I'll end there and then give it to some other questions, because
No, but
at
I'd
some
like to
point-
comment on that, Mr. Rogers, because that's inaccurate.
Well, no. This is what it's not inaccurate. What I'm saying is, you had one pool closed. You're trying to make the argument of consistency. You're saying that the department was inconsistent. What I'm saying to you is, my interpretation of it is, and that's why I'm just stating it, is, you said your whole systems were bad, so you shut them down at the other places and start manual feeding. If one of them was bad and not working, how do you know that they're working at other places? Because when I read this section of the law, it says, okay, let's say it says the chemical may be added and manual fed from the pool deck. Then it says, also under one of those lines, it says, not while the pool is in use, the operator must follow manufacturer's instructions, and the water must be tested before reopening. So if you chose to do this manual feeding piece, who tested it before it was reopening? And the only thing I'm trying to say, you're saying there's some inconsistency. Everybody's picking out certain things of the law. I'm trying not to get into that piece, but the main piece here you're here to answer is, and I think the sentiment is, you want to be sympathetic to a business owner, but I'm gonna tell you, I do have issue with a police officer comes and gives a citation. You have orders to close a place, and a business owner makes an independent decision to open that up. That's the communication piece to me. So if you want your person to respond, let them respond quickly, and then I'll turn it over to the next question that we have.
So when we were cited, we did close, sir. Number two, I just wanted to make sure that was on the record. Number two, the Ecolab system was failing at all pools.
Closed for how long?
I'm sorry?
Closed for how long?
And it's still closed since then.
No,
Since the citation, we closed.
what happened between December 16th to March 6th?
We didn't receive I did not receive a citation on December 16th.
Were you open?
Yes, sir, we were. Yes, sir.
And did you get a notice and there's clear evidence that you had notice to close and you weren't approved to open?
We received the list of
And you made the call
infractions.
to open?
Mr. Rogers,
You
with
made
respect-
the decision to
I want
open?
to answer you very, yes, sir, I did. I made the plan to keep the
So
pool open.
I just want to make sure on the record, you're closed now because you were told, because it seems like you're closed now because of the press and it was brought to the attention, but you were ordered to close on the 16th and you didn't close.
We're closed now because I was issued a citation and the permits were revoked.
Okay.
And before, we read the list of infractions. They were cured within 30 minutes. And that last item on the chemical feeder, that's where I had tried very hard to reach out to Mr. Ruff, and he says, unless you go back to the Ecolab system, you cannot reopen. That was point blank, well, I'm quoting him, that same evening when he closes right before the end of his shift for the weekend. And I tried to discuss with him, other pool inspectors, fully aware of the whole process, are saying it's okay to keep operating as long as you manual feed. And Mr. Hart,
1 second. May I?
Quickly, and then there's other questions.
So there's no question Kurt Trivedi kept the water park open after December 16th order till February 26th. But if you we pass the rules and regulations of the state, they say if the instrument mechanical system is not working, it's okay to use manual feeding of the chemicals without defining any time. So all along, public was safe because we were using manual chemical feeding, and other hotels are allowed to keep functioning. But for this one, nobody is answering that question, why different standard for Holiday Inn Express water park versus other hotel pools? They were using the same manual chemical feeding.
I heard that argument. You keep bringing that up, but that's irrelevant now because you want to get the other one open. That's you're closed. That's irrelevant. You're good. If you want to keep bringing that up, but that's not going to help with this instance. But
Sir,
I hear it. I just want you to know I hear that argument. You're repeating that argument. So I'm gonna hold you there and hand it to the council person.
my last thing is, on December 16th, they had the same citation to other hotels, and they allowed them to continue with manual chemical feeding. But for this one, they
I
said
heard
close
that.
it now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
you said you would allow Joe to speak.
I thought he was your response, but if he wants to after Councilman Fessler.
All right, thanks. You can take a seat for now, just have some comments and maybe a few questions too. And Dr. Ganghar, I'd like to where you started with accepting compliance and accountability for what's happened here. That's what I'm looking for today as we consider your appeal. And I understand the importance of this to your business. And as Commissioner Rogers says, we want to promote businesses and support businesses in our city, but we also expect them to comply with basic standards. And that's the question at this juncture. I'm not ready to hear from you yet. I have a few questions and statements about it. I would say it's very troubling, the very point that Commissioner Rogers was bringing up, that it does appear to be defiance to a basic order from the county health department to close, and that was not done during that period of time. And I can't recall any incident or event that's really this simple that required so much city and county resources and a police officer to come to a pool. I mean, that should not be necessary. This is a basic standard, a basic expectation of all businesses, right? So I understand your background, the explanation you provided about having a previous third-party operator, and that didn't go well, so maybe you were in transition, and maybe this caught you during that time of transition, and I can understand how that happens. I do want to ask Mr. Bradley if you would come up, please, just to respond to the notion of inconsistencies or the communication issues that were brought up. So I'll have Mr. Bradley take the stand.
Yes, just kind of going back, basically when we issued the citation revocation on February 24th, we went back that afternoon and our signs were covered up. That's when the city attorneys issued a cease and desist letter, which was provided on February 26th, where we observed still the signage. You have pictures of the signage I took from Friday, February 27th at 5:45, which was the deadline the city attorney's office gave, showing that our closure signs are still covered. And then once the press release went out, it was then on Monday, March 2nd, that the facility then got to the state and paid the fees. And then it was after KETV had actually interviewed with Mr. Trivedi that the reporter called us sometime that afternoon and said Mr. Trivedi was closing the pool. So that was on March 3rd. Going back, basically, the main focus was the fact that when we were out there was no disinfectant system, no automatic feeders installed at the time. If you look at the permits that Mr. Trivedi provided in his appeal, it lists Ecolab on there. That is what the state had approved. And the email from Susan Polskill on January 5th to Mr. Trivedi stating that even if you switch back to another system that had been prior approved, you still have to get approval from the state to make any modifications. And that's kind of where we are.
In your opinion, were there communication issues or vagaries over these 2 months?
I believe Thomas had, who works for Minot Properties, had been reaching out to our inspector early on before the initial visit by the police on New Year's Eve with our staff, as you saw from the text. So they did talk about what the issues were. And then there was really, after that, there really has been no communication until we went back out there with the police on January or February 24th to issue the citation.
I'm sure from your perspective, you're willing to sit down with the business owner and walk through all these issues and make sure they are in compliance?
Yes, we know the state has finally approved. That was one thing I was going to mention too, that I know the presentation said the state said it could take up to 6 months to get that in. I would just point out that after they got all the documentation and the fee to the state, that was on Monday, I forget the date, but by Thursday they had approval, the system was installed, and the state had come out and inspected. So this could have all been done within less than a week of our initial inspection, and they've been reopened.
And do you feel there's inconsistencies in how the pool standards are supervised or inspected across properties or different owners?
There is some across the state because different jurisdictions. There's a few of us in this. Most everything is inspected by the state, where us and a few others do have our local codes. But that's what everybody in Omaha, City of Omaha, has to comply with. We've been working with all the other pools, most other pools. Even as Mr. Wade knows, the restaurants, most places close voluntarily, put up a closed for cleaning sign, get everything fixed, and then call us back as quick as they can, and we reopen them. So we work with everybody to get them reopened. This was just lack of compliance.
Have you ever had a situation like this before?
I have not.
How long have you been doing this?
29 years.
Ms. Shudak, I think these next questions are for you. So the action before us are being requested of the Douglas County Board of Public Health here is to essentially approve an appeal of a cancellation of this pool license. And the action item before us, if the board so chose to do that, is to approve, I believe, a resolution from the board. Is that correct? Or is this a Dr. Hughes question?
No, I can answer
Go
that.
ahead.
So yes, that would be what we're asking the board to do today. Mr. Bradley also has some additional recommendations that the business owners be permitted to start the reapplication process, but there are some terms and conditions that the health department is wanting the owners to agree to be able to allow them to start that reapplication process and reopen their pool facilities.
And if that resolution is approved by the board today, those expectations must be agreed to by the applicant, right?
That is correct. That's my understanding.
And Dr. Gangahar, I believe, if you'd like, those requirements include approving and agreeing to a written document with Dr. Hughes that expresses your intent to be compliant with municipal code and all Douglas County health regulations. It would require you to apply for new permits and go through that process again. It would require additional inspections from the Douglas County Health Department to approve those permits, and I believe from the state, and then requires also quarterly inspections of the pool for what looks like to be the next year. Is that your understanding, and is that something you're willing to comply with?
Let me make a few comments before that. If I was in town on December 16th and it had come to my attention, for whatever reason, logical or illogical, county had closed our pool, I would have insisted to close it right then. And I would have done exactly what I did on February 26th. As soon as I found out we were in violation, I told Kurt, close the pool right now, And the second thing I did, made a phone call to Mr. Bradley's office, and message was, he's gone till July 18th. Then I made a phone call to Dr. Hughes's office, twice phone call. Her voicemail was full. I left the message. Third thing I did, reach out to Chairman Roger Garcia. I reached out to him, and before that, I knew Mr. Morgan because we had bought some real estate from him 20, 30 years ago. And he said, please go to Mr. Chair. I asked him same plea. Please, I want to sit down and talk.
So, Dr. Gangahar, can I? And I want to give you a due process, but listen to what I'm about to say. I think the sentiment of the board is to give you what you want, but I feel like the more you rehash this, the more you may be changing minds. The subject at hand now is, like the councilman said, we want to be supportive of business. I think Mr. Bradley has some things. What I'm saying is, it's in the documentation, the communication with Chairman Garcia, and the rehashing of this. The main point of this really is about, why was the facility reopened after a direct order? I believe in grace. So the board is at the point right now where I think they're inclined to give you grace. There's a couple more questions. What I want to prevent is you from digging a hole and changing some votes here. So I'm going to stop you because I think you're on the record for everything you just said.
And the answer I want to my question is a pretty simple yes. Is that your
First,
is that your
I submit
response?
we were wrong to keep the water park open on December 16th. I submit that it's
That's
our
all
fault.
we need.
It's our fault.
And
We admit, and number two, we have been, ever since we opened the hotel, in compliance with every state, city, and state regulation. We do not want any exception. We want to be held at a higher standard than the average hotel pool owner.
thank you. And I'm going to leave it at there so you can win.
But I do have one follow-up to my question, which was, you understand that the expectations outlined in the potential agreement we have here, and you're willing to comply with those expectations, right?
I've not seen the agreement, but we will comply with that. But only request is, we want at least temporary injunction, we can open it. This is the prime time of the season. We cannot, if I'll submit myself liable, not Kurt Trivedi, not anybody else. I'll personally be liable. If any violation occurs, I'll submit myself to any penalties.
Well, note, we don't have that liberty. The only thing we can do is do this process today to put you in, to put you on the road to doing that. There's nothing we can do from an emergency function to get you open tomorrow. What we can do is this for the process. So what I'm advising you is let Mr. Bradley come up and also answer Councilman Festersen's question so you can understand what's on the record, what the requirement is, and then we can proceed. Because I think right now, the main question is, as Councilman Festersen asked you, do you all take accountability for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, he's got it on the record, you're good. What I would like to do is ask Mr. Bradley to come and state the terms that he's under so you hear them, and then the board can make a decision. And then while he's coming, I want to let the councilman finish and let, okay. I want to let Councilman Fester finish and then let Mr. Bradley go.
Thanks. Go ahead, Mr. Bradley.
The stipulations are, if you approve them to move forward, they will need to fill out the application for the pool, spa, and splash pad, pay the fees. It's renewal season, so it'll be just like they're renewing their fee. Then we will review it to make sure that everything is accurate, because they need to make sure we have the new information. The new disinfectant system needs to be listed on there. We'll also let the state know that have received the application, so the state can then send out their renewal notices to get the pool going. And then I would say within a day or two, we should be able to schedule or come out and do an inspection, be like a brand new inspection. And if they meet what we say, we can reopen them. We are going to require they submit weekly chemistry reports to us until the time we feel that everything is fine. And also, we'll be doing basic inspection roughly every 6 months. It's kind of our frequency. We will require a third party come in and do an inspection in those 3 months, basically quarterly. So in the quarter we're not there, we would like a third party to come in and do an inspection and provide us with that documentation.
Just, I want to be on the record to the Dr. Gangahar's comment. I just want to be clear. This is the swiftest thing we can do, and from our role is to get this done today so they can be in the process. There's no special waiver that we can give to get them there. I just want to be on the record.
No, if you approve them today and they get everything turned in today, there's a good chance we can get out there tomorrow and reopen them.
Okay. I just want you all on the record. Do you understand these terms?
Whatever, Mr. Bradley, whatever the requirements are, we'll comply today. Any document need to be filled, any fee needs submitted, we'll do it today.
Okay.
And again, I stand on the record. We will comply with every city, state, county, or federal regulation. So for safety, public safety concern, we shall never compromise. We should be held 10% higher than the average standard.
I'm glad you said that. Hold right there. Let's officially call in so we can vote. We'll officially get on record. There's a copy of the Open Meetings Act on the wall. We'll roll call, and then we'll be in a position to vote.
Wade,
Here.
Festerson,
Here.
McNally, Rogers,
Yes, me here.
Reese, Jones, Wilkin, King, Espinoza, Sennick.
Okay, we're officially in order now. Let me state, Doctor. So this is what I'm gonna read here, and then let me make note first. So I just want to reiterate for the public. I think the sentiment of the board is to give grace. You're a business owner. Business owning is hard. Maintenance costs everything to some degree. But
Could you speak a little louder?
I said to owning businesses is hard. In this point in time in society, it's especially hard. I understand that, and I think the sentiment of the board is to give you grace for pursuing your dreams, making things operate. But I just want to back up for the record, and I'm asking the director and Mr. Bradley to put this in file, because a board after this needs to have record of this. The director could leave tomorrow that that you all are on notice in that respect, because this is a second time. And I don't have issue with the ordinary things that happen in the day-to-day business. I do have great issue with the defiance of orders from officials sanctioned by the state. And to Councilman Festerson's point, I have seen them stop businesses for less for liquor licenses. And to me, this is very egregious because of the fact of the danger of kids being at pool, things can spread. You being a doctor, how things can take and go. So I don't want to take this lightly. So just note, this is the board's act of grace, because this is bad. This is bad. And so with that, I will ask if anyone from the board wants to entertain making a motion to act on, well, let me officially close the public hearing on this. And now, if anybody from the board wants to recommend action on item A of the public hearing.
And Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, the action item would be to approve item A, which is the appeal,
Yes.
allowing the agreement to be executed.
Yes.
I'll motion to approve that.
There's a motion by Councilman Festus. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wade. Any questions, board? Roll call.
Jones, Weiss, King, Rogers,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Festerson,
Yes.
McNally, Wilkin. Yes. Espinoza.
Doctor, you all good? I'm assuming, I'm advising you work with Mr. Bradley to get everything going and rolling. So you're good. So if we can, real quick, for the official things, I'm going to ask for a motion all in one for approval of items 2, approval of item 3, A through L, and ask for a motion to approve those items.
I'm motion to approve those.
Motion to approve
items,
Wade.
Mr. Ryan.
Is there a second? Second, Wilkin. Any question on those items? Roll call.
Wilkin,
Yes.
Wade,
Yes.
Rogers,
Yes.
Jones, Weiss, McNally, Espinoza, Festerson.
Yes.
Dr. Hughes, do you have anything significant, or you just want to do it by email? Okay. With that, having nothing further, the board has the monthly reports. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned by Council Professional. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wade. Roll call.
Wade,
Yes.
McNally, King, Festerson.
Yes.
Jones, Rogers.
Yes.
Espinoza, Wilkin,
Yes.
Weiss.
Thank you all.